Thank you, Dr. Sharma, and faculty members, Dr. Vikram Sagar, and other faculty members. I came or reached India on 24th of Feb, and then Dr. Vikram called me on 25th or 26th that they wanted to have this lecture. So I was in Thailand helping the Thailand government on their e-procurement system for 12 days. So this topic definitely is of great interest. I had my own copyrights, transferred the technology when I was working in CDAC here in India, and national award for that. So it's basically, as a scientist, as an engineer, as a technocrat, whatever you want to be, we can think from the angle that what we can do with the technology. Think of a problem which can solve or which will help the people or citizens. Any service or any product or anything which you develop, if it will be serving and solving a problem, you will be able to sell it. One thing is, keep this thing in your mind, that if a particular thing or if a particular idea which you have, if it is going to be solving some problem which is a current one or in future, if you can predict future, then definitely that idea is going to sell, and that idea will bring the money along with it. Don't run after the money, money will run after you. Positions, power, fame will run after you if you are working hard within the technology. I remember Steve Jobs, when the first iPhone came, at that time Nokia was one of the best mobile phones in the world, 38% market share. And Steve Jobs said he will launch a phone in a year and it will change the way the phones will work. And that was year 2007 when he launched that. At that time HTC, probably you might have used, they had a similar touch phone, but they could not grab the market as iPhone started. And then at 2007, when they started with this touch phone, bigger screen and all that stuff, Nokia's market share started dropping down, and they didn't change with time. And the effect of that is they didn't use new operating software. They had their Symbian, they stuck with that. And eventually, now iPhone is the market leader with 18% share, and Nokia is, I think, less than 1% or 2% of share. And second is Samsung. The Samsung just copied iPhone. And Samsung, because iPhone is using Samsung screens, definitely, and Samsung built all the screens for them. So they just copied it, and they are the second one. So you can think of if you don't change with the time, your idea may be very good today, but if you don't change with time, that idea may fail. So just with that background, just keep that things in your mind now, that how we have to, so I just put it like this, that think of a well-geared machinery, well-oiled machinery, which can work together. That find an opportunity, find an idea. Even if you want to start in a restaurant, just take any idea but how it is different from the other people, right? If you can click into that, like Barbecue Nation, it had a different idea of putting the same food in a different concept, and it worked for them. Similarly, others, so you should not see that, oh, there are so many restaurants, how will my operate? But still people are coming up, right, with new ideas, new things, and it is working for them. So that way, you need to think of what is the opportunity and what is the initial project assessment with you. No idea is bad. Think of some wild dreams and it may come true also. But only thing is, if you walk towards that dream every day, small steps, only then you will reach that dream. If you don't have that dream, probably you may not reach. Hard work will pay you eventually. Education will pay you eventually. It may not pay you immediately, but after a few years, it will pay you. So think from that. There are some people who are born in rich families, that's one separate thing. They can have more risk-taking ability, I don't deny that. But if you don't take risks, you don't rise also. Take the risk, calculated risks. It's not, so it's your plan, work towards that plan. And you must measure the success at each step. If you don't measure, then you will not be able to see your progress. What we always say is, when you are trying to find the idea, how we teach in our new civil servants who come through the fast stream, as we call them here, like the IAS exam they gave here. We always, when the induction program is there, so when I take their sessions, it always is fail fast. It's a very different thinking. You will say fail fast, because if you don't do that, you will be stuck on that idea. If you want to be in particular area, give your 100%, 200%, 1000%, whatever you want to do. Give it that and fail. No problems. But at least you have learned that this will not be successful this way. And if you fail fast, then you will jump into the other idea. If I go on sticking to that idea for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years and fail after 3 years, I am wasting my own time. Right? So that means you have to try the idea, try enough that if this is not going to work, let it be over in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, then at least I know that I don't have to go that way. I have to change my way of thinking. So that's why we always say fail fast. A very different concept. अपने इत्थे कहणगे ना fail नहीं होना. But be ready for the fail. Nobody got success in 1 day. Everyone failed. Just to give some examples, KFC, he started his business when he retired at 65. He was 65 years old. Right? And he took his recipe to 1,000 people. The same KFC which you are now eating, he took his recipe to 1,000 people, 1,000 venture capitalists to fund his business. Nobody took his idea. Then he said, I am going to do it on my own. and now you know where he is, where the company is, right? So it's basically never take, no, other people are having doubt in your capability, but at least you should be honest with your consciousness that yes, this idea is going to work. Have that sounding board with someone who you can trust, who is a good critic for you. बड़े मिलणगे दोस्त कि वो नहीं चल जूगा, कोई नहीं कर लांगे. Sorry, I don't take care of all those things. Take one sound friend, teacher, guide, supervisor, relative, who can be your real critic. Because critic will be your real friend. Because that should be your sounding board. Sound the idea, he or she will tell you, sorry, and evaluate the right perspective, give you the right perspective, and measure your success in that. That if that person is saying, this is going to work, or tell me how you will do this, then you must see that how you are going to respond to those questions, not shy away from those questions that this person is asking me hard questions. We always say that soft teachers may be good at college. You like that because they have given you good marks and they are easy with your attendance and all that stuff. But you will always like the hard teachers afterwards because they were the one who made you succeed, because they were pushing you to the limits. They were giving you the right perspective of the life, that it's not going to be that way. So you must start learning from the teachers who are giving you more assignments, more work or more things to do, because they know if you have achieved this, why you don't try this? So they are trying to push your limits. So push your limits, don't sit in your comfort zone. Right? So first thing, idea, take the initial assessment, prove what is the customer value which you are going to have. What will be the pain points you are going to have. Have you done your user research? Who are going to be the users for you? If I am developing an online service or any other product, who will be the actual user? How is this going to capture the market? Do you have that view? If you have that view, then develop your roadmap for technology validation, business roadmap. And if you are confident that yes, I am investing X amount, this is how I am going to get a return on that. Or what will be the licensing? Is it a copyright? Is it a patent? How I am going to approach that area? If you don't have a skill in that area, hire another professional. If you don't know how to manage your accounts, hire a professional to manage your accounts, books and everything. If you are a technology expert, you may not be expert in everything, right? So you hire the professional to do job work, consultant, time, frame, whatever the way you want to attach that person. It's your business model. You can talk to them that yes, this is my idea. I can give you 0.5% of my equity when my company grows up. You have seen the Shark Tank. Selling idea, how difficult it is. It's basically getting the money out of someone's pocket is always difficult. You bargain when you buy anything, right? So salesman cannot get the money out of you unless you are fully convinced that yes, I want this product. So same is with the technology transfer. That if somebody is not convinced, why should that person invest with you? Why should they take a risk of putting a money into your company? You have to give them some sounding, some good business case model where you can think, yes, that this model seems to work. Venture capitalists, they do take risks. They know that out of 10 ideas, One may work or two may work, rest our money is going to be, may be wasted. But that one or two ideas will generate them enough money to give them enough money for new projects to sponsor. Just for a professor who has funded Google, who has funded Facebook, his annual total remuneration is around $1 billion. Professor of Stanford University. He just takes the idea from the student. The student, if they comes to with him an idea, and if he likes that idea, he will put the funds into it. And every student knows that. But he knows that which projects to fund. So he has equity of those companies, and that's how his total package is around now, 1 billion. So people will work with you, people will have confidence in you if you give them the confidence that yes, they can trust you, trust your idea, and only then your commercialization will succeed. So these are the steps as we call from research. You may have 10 ideas, 20 ideas, then you have the idea generation, work with the best in the world, evaluate that idea, business case, build the business case that okay, this is my 5 years business case. First 3 years you may not have any returns. It may be first 3 years, it may be you may be able to just balance your balance sheet or the workbook, and then you need to bring into some profit. If people can see that yes, it is going to work, people will invest. Select prototype or minimum viable. There is a difference between a prototype and a minimum viable product. Prototype is a smaller model of the actual thing, right? So smaller model means you are trying to build a bigger car, full-fledged car, but at a smaller model you show the people that this is the model, this is going to be at this scale. So that prototype may be working. But minimum viable product is that this product which can work for the people, right? That means car may not be fancy initially, but yes, it will be going from A to B and everything, right? It may not have AC, it may have AC, it may not have the luxuries initially, but it's a minimum viable product which is working, which can work, which will fulfill the needs of a car. But then you can go on building on top of that. Like you have seen, the Alto or Maruti Suzuki, it's still coming. Still people are buying it, but they are changing it. Some new features, some new functionalities are coming into it. Why I am taking very basic examples is because that way you can understand it easier. I can go into blockchain and cryptocurrency, but I don't want to go into that. Smaller examples, it immediately clicks that if this can work, how the other can work. So as we saw in the previous idea, patents. Patents is one thing which you can earn the royalty, you can sell your patent, commercialize it if you don't have the capacity to commercialize it. Or if you don't want to commercialize, you want to be in a research area. Your lab is generating new ideas and transferring the technology to the rest of the world. So which means now I will be working on new areas. Normally it is said the scientists are not a good businessman. Normally. The reason is because if you are a scientist, if you are a technologist, if you are a product person, then what happens is you are a perfectionist. And you will not be able to sell a product which is a minimum viable product. Let's say this is mouse. So I will say, no, I can still improve it and then I will sell it. I can still improve it, then I will sell it. But a businessman thinking is a different. I will sell it, the current one, and then I will see what is the next one which will come. So those two thinkings are different. So that's why most of the scientists may not be into business. They will just transfer the technology, keeping the patent with themselves. So every product, when it is sold, then they get some money out of it. Because the company is commercializing it, company is mass producing it, or they may not have the whole capacity to do it. So those things you need to think of which area you would like to be in from lab commercialization to technology transfer, which area you would like to be. I just want to be in research, fine. You can still earn more money. Like the professor I told, you can search on Google. I can give the names, but I don't want to give you some exercise to do. बाकी चीज़ां लिए आप Google बड़ा कर लेंगे अपनी चीज़ां लिए बहुत Facebook ते बढ़िया वीडियो देख लेंगे YouTube ते बहुत कुछ देख लेना पर ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਲਰਨਿੰਗ ਲਈ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਬੜੇ ਘੱਟ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਕਦੀ ਦੇਖਣਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਐਨਾਲਾਈਜ਼ ਕਰਨਾ out of YouTube videos or the time you spent on the internet, how much hours you spent on watching videos or TikTok or other things, and how much time you spent on learning new things. Just see the hours and evaluate yourself honestly. Honestly. धोखा नहीं करना अपने ज़मीर नाल धोखा ना करें कि मैं 4 घंटे सिर्फ वीडियो देखिया या मूवीज़ देखिया तो 1 घंटा मैं पढ़िया इसनों रिवर्स कर लियो बस the day you reverse this the day your life will start changing मैं नहीं कहता ना देखो मूवीज़ भी देखो खेलो भी सब कुछ करो but the proportions have to be changed, right? Only then, अगर कहते हैं कि if I want to change the results, I have to change the way I work. If I go on doing the same thing, I will go on getting the same results. Very simple thing. I want to change the outcome, I have to change the way I work. So, commercialization. We call from academic entrepreneurship, licensing, joint ventures, startups, sale, whichever way you want to commercialize. Academic entrepreneurship is that I am a researcher, I am an academician, I will start my own licensing, exclusive, non-exclusive, geographic use, non-geographic use, multiple geographic use, whatever way you want, equity, non-equity, that I want to have an IPO of my product. So you can think of those things where you would like to go. I have an idea, I don't want to give that idea to the world, I will mass produce it myself, that's a startup site. Or I will just sell the idea. Right? It could be one-off, sign off completely. Like Facebook bought WhatsApp. Right? So it could be one sale also. So think of whichever model works for you, work on that. If you think by selling today my product is good enough, I don't want to work on this enough, I sell it now. I will work on other area, other product. Like Steve Jobs, I always say you might have listened to his lecture or a convocation speech at Stanford University. Just search on the YouTube, it's there, 15 minutes talk. He was kind of a chief guest over there and he was asked to share his experience with the new graduates. And he shared his experiences. He started Apple, he was fired from Apple, right? He was from his own company, he was fired. So then started his company Pixar, which is now the most valued company in animations in Hollywood for animation pictures. Right? Then he came back into Apple and he shares his journey from how he got into calligraphy and everything. Just watch that. It's motivational and how he came out from the pancreatic cancer, the near death. nobody's life is easy. Don't think everybody is बोलना बड़ा आसान है जी इतने खड़े होके. I can share my own experiences of my tough life, but I don't want to go into those things. So think from, yes, this is my idea, I am going to work on it with wholeheartedly. If you can think of that one idea, one thing which can work for people, कोई भी चीज़ जड़ी किसी ने काम आ सकती है, PPE kits कितना चली हैं, just think of. It's the thing which is going to serve, which is going to be sold. It will work, it can be commercialized. This is how the patent filing is if you want to go for patents. Copyrights takes around 1 year at least to get a copyright. Patent will take a bit longer. Different companies have different time frames. You have to have full kind of documentation, like filing my copyrights, 2 copyrights which I got. It's a different level of documentation which you require into it. So be ready for that if you are filing for a patent or a copyright. Build that time frame, that who is going to do that. If you don't have expertise, hire a legal expert to do it for you. But have the confidence that the legal expert is not going to leak your idea to the world. Because this is initially, till it is patented, the idea is if it is unique idea and if people leak that idea, you may be suffering for it. So think from the time frame, build that team which you can trust. People you can trust and they will help you out. So technology transfer life cycle, research to invention, disclosure, assessment, IP protection, marketing, licensing, commercialization, revenue. It's the same thing. You can go on improving the product, go on doing the thing. There will be challenges. We will come to that in commercialization. This is the most important phase, which we call test marketing phase of product commercialization. Like when we develop any citizen service in UK, I had worked from the commercial organizations, various big banks, to consultancies, big fours, different way of working, different way of perceptions. And now with UK Civil Services, so citizens are our customers. So when we develop the service for citizens, so it's not that government cha jo marzi kariye, nahi. We say we are civil servants. India वाला हाल नहीं है कि मैं राजा बन गया हूँ. Nobody gets a PN or a driver or anything. Even a typist or a PA you won't get. You have to type everything on your own. ठीक है? बड़ी different है. Even my kind of cabinet secretary rank, which is next to PM. My boss, even he will have a shared PA. So it's a different way of working. So I'm not saying that, I must say that India should copy it. Non-paraphernalia costs, they should be taken off. But when we say citizens, we are working for citizens. Because government service and the private service, 2 different areas of work. In private service, person has a choice that he or she wants to use that service or not. Right? Today, I may like going to a HSBC or IDBI or ICICI, HDFC. I have a choice. I can go to any bank. Right? It's my personal choice to go. Okay? So that means it's my choice to use that service. So I am going with a choice to use the service. But when it is a government, citizens don't have a choice. They have to use the service. You have to make a license, you have to go to the government. You have to make a passport, you have to go to the government. You don't have a choice, right? Land registry, you have to go to the government. Birth certificate, death certificate, marriage certificate, you have to go to the government. There is no choice. So when there is no choice for the citizen, they must use this service. So then as a civil services, we have a responsibility that I make their life easier. If I can't make their life easier, I don't have a right to work in civil services. So that's the way we work there. And India should work like that. I don't want to go into those debates, but that's the way we work, that every citizen should be able to use our service or a product. And we do spend a lot of time in our user research so that any person who doesn't know how to use a computer, he should be able to use my service. Whether it's a deaf, with special needs, with screen reading facility, visual capability, and whatever capability, it should be inclusive service. My service is always tested. My product is always tested that it can be used by all users. And if it cannot be used, then I should provide an alternative way the person can use this service. So that means we create a channel that some people they may not be able to use the digital service. Some old people who are not computer savvy or with special needs, then they can call a person line and somebody will assist them and work with them to give them that service. So you must think of that alternatives. So that's where the marketing phase of the product, that we call it from discovery phase, the alpha, then we go into private beta, where we test with people, which is a limited group of people. But it will have all spectrum of users. It's not that only with people with the technology savvy. We tell our development teams, you may have to work hard, but the front end should be user friendly in a way that any person who knows English, because English is their language, so any person who knows plain English, that person should be able to use the service without any assistance from a technology expert. So if you can make your product that simpler, easier to use, it will sell. So that's where, once you have tested that phase, you have tested the product, tested the market, then you can go for a big launch, whatever you want to do with that. And then you can go for the launch. Then we call it a public beta or a live service or a live product. That now we are confident that this will not fail. Right? So I was commercialization, so I will come into the challenges. The principal challenges that startups typically face, which include these. One is, because a startup will not have enough funds to scale up to the manufacturing or commercial requirements. Today the demand is 10 products, tomorrow it may be 100,000. So you need to think of that will I have that capability if this product grows like this? What kind of things? Today the website is getting 1,000 hits, tomorrow it may get 100,000 hits. How will the servers at the back end, will they be scaling up to that level? If not, will it be denial of service for people? Regulatory compliance of the product, like people were racing against time for developing vaccine for COVID. And normally any vaccine has a 10 years timeline when it is launched for the human to be used. But this vaccine was launched in almost 6 months to a year. right? And UK was the first one to use it on the humans. Of course, India helped it to mass produce it. The first product came from the Oxford University, Covishield, AstraZeneca, whatever you want to call it. So, just see, the time pushed, the need pushed. Normally the vaccine, which should have taken 10 years for regulatory compliance to be over, countries took it a risk also, tested it quickly enough. People also were happy to be tested with a vaccine initially, and then it was launched successfully. Then others, Moderna, Pfizer, more products started coming up, and now they are start thinking of a pill which will be eventually used for COVID cure. So think of those things. If you have to meet some regulatory compliance, if it is a medical product or any other online services, they may have to use cybersecurity clearance and all that stuff from IS 27001. Think of those compliances. Funding, where you will get that funding, how will you convince the venture capitalist to fund with you, work with you, and give you more money to produce more products, better services, and how will you protect the intellectual rights? Like companies nowadays have seen working on the COVID vaccine. Of course, Oxford is getting royalty, or other universities who have worked on it, they are getting royalties for it, working on new medicine, new things. So how will you protect the rights? Sorry, this is a very busy slide. I will not read line by line, but this slide pack will be available to you. You can use it. Just from this overall, important is how the government is supporting the innovation. Government of India has some innovation council. One, incubation centers are set up in Software Technology Park of India or other centers for manufacturing. Also, there are incubation center where you can hire a space. You will get most of the infrastructure you require for running a company because you don't have the budget to build your own infrastructure. You can use the infrastructure, you will get everything over there. And then as you grow up, you can start moving out of the incubation center into your own facility. So you can use that for initial work where you have to just pay some money as a rent to use those services. So use those services. Of course, there are challenges in India and abroad also from political. The external factors are also important. Political system, political scenario. One government changes, second government comes, the policies may change. The stability of policies is a problem. So that you may have to take the external factors into account. Not only the internal factors you can always take care of. The external factors will impact you differently. So you must be ready for that. How you will tackle those external factors. And then when we talk of which area, which groups you should lobby with, which group you are going to work with, you must find your interest groups or subject matter experts like CII, Confederation of Indian Industries is there, ASSOCHAM is there. I start because it has been now 20 years from India, I keep on forgetting. There are other industrial chambers. I think PhD Chamber of Commerce is there. Then financial institution, Punjab Financial Corporation, Haryana Financial Corporation, which funds new entrepreneurs. So you can use those things to build your system, to get the loan on a cheaper rate or something like that. So work with them, and then work, how this idea can be developed from nascent idea into commercialized product or a service, whichever it is. So it can be a restaurant, it can be IT company, it can be IT product, IT service, back-end services, back office services, whichever you think, call centers, printing services, n number of things can be done. Right? So be confident of your idea that it will work, but don't be foolish enough also to be overconfident. That's where I'm saying fail fast. If you think this is not going to work, leave it, but not without trying also. Edison failed at least 1,000 times before making the bulb. And eventually he made it. Are you ready for that extra step? It's very easy to say Virat Kohli is one of the best batsmen, or Sachin Tendulkar was one of the best, or Brian Lara was one of the best. But see the commitment they have given. They are the first to reach for their practice sessions. They are the first to be in the net practice. They spend 6 to 8 hours there. एक घंटा खेल के मैं थक गया, वो नहीं गल बननी ना. You take any player from football to cricket to hockey to anywhere, right? So if he's a fast bowler, his shoulder has gone. If he or she is a batsman, this part is gone, always operated on. Elbow. Sachin Tendulkar has an operation. Because they have done so much of practice with this, or fast bowler has done with this. Footballers' knees are always injured, operated on. So it's the zeal, it's the passion, the time you give to it. You have to give time. Oh नहीं यार, तू नहीं यार, नहीं चलना, 1 घंटे बाद कल मैं दूसरा आइडिया ट्राई कर रहे हैं, तभी नहीं चलनी. मैं नहीं कहता कि fail fast is today I am trying one idea, tomorrow I am trying another idea. Initiative भी नहीं. Once you have exhausted all the avenues, and अगर फिर भी लगता कि नहीं, my idea is going to work, go with it. KFC. 1,000 times going to a venture capitalist to get money and not getting it, and then still having that confidence in himself. No, this is going to work. There's one question I always ask. What is the business of McDonald's? Actual business of McDonald's? Good. Real estate. So how they have covered it up with the chain. It's very difficult to see, right? So you must know what you are doing and why you are doing it and how you are going to improve upon it. So you have to slog. You have to slog. Success will not come easy to you. Sometimes it may work. Google was 10. If I say, where was Google when internet started? It was nowhere to be seen. Year 2000, Google was not there. It started around 2002 or 3. It started coming up Google, right? Then people started. It was a blank. At that time, Yahoo was the best search engine. Alta Vista was the best search engine. Ask Jeeves was the best search engine. And Google came up with a blank screen. Yahoo still had those things displayed there. Google came up with a blank screen, just a search bar. And slowly they build on it. And now Google is the main search engine and rest are the second ones. Right? So success has not come to Google also so easy. They have worked on it, worked on the other products, other services which Google is providing. So they took YouTube also, right? So the Gmail they started, Hotmail was the top one, Yahoo Mail was the second one at that time. So Hotmail's Subir Bhatia was the kind of developer of Hotmail at that time, free email, and Microsoft saw that potential in it and they bought him. At that time I think the deal was around $1 billion or something like that. So then the other free emails started for people. Some failed, some worked, some are there. So it's you who have to, all the challenges which I'm putting, I always see them as an opportunities. When you do a SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunities and threats, right? All your threats are your opportunities. I always see it like that. Your weakness is again another opportunity for you to improve upon yourself. Strengths you don't have to work on. But if it is a bad strength of yours, leave it. Right? So weakness is also an opportunity for you to work on, improve upon yourself or your product or your service. Threat is also an improvement for yourself. If you have a threat that tomorrow my business has a competitor, then how I am going to see being a leader in that? It's always said, if you are a leader, you will earn the most. If you are a second one, you may earn slightly lesser than the leader. But if you are third, fourth or fifth in the product or a service, then profits will not be the similar. So try, if you want to be a leader, work on that idea, work on that research area where you can patent that idea or copyright that idea. You have to be leader in your area. Second, third, fourth, nobody remembers. Right? कितने बैट्समैन हो रहा है इंडियन टीम, कितने बॉलर हो रहा है? How many of you remember after a few years? It's only few names you will remember who will be at the top. Similarly, college जो टॉपर होएगा शायद याद होएगा सब, बट उस तो बाद किसी को कोई नहीं याद होता. सेकंड केड़ा सी, थर्ड केड़ा सी, शायद सेकंड थर्ड भी याद होगा, उस तो बाद nobody remembers. If I ask you who was the winner of 100 meters race, immediately people will say Usain Bolt in that year. The second one, will you remember? No. Very, very simple. World out there is very competitive, highly competitive, if I say. If you have to progress, you must be ready for that competition. अगर competition लिए मैं तैयार नहीं है, sorry, then you will be mediocre, will remain at that place. You have to change yourself, change your habit, change the way you think. बड़े बंदे कहणगे कोई नहीं, जिदा पंजाबी एक बड़ी होती है ना, कोई नहीं तेरा भरा खड़ा तेरे नाल, कोई नहीं, पर जदों पैंदियां कोई नहीं खड़दा. ठीक है ना? वो सारे छड़ जाते हैं. Life is like that. If you think कुछ स्कूल फ्रेंड बनते हैं, कुछ कॉलेज, कुछ फिर काम ते कदों असीं जाने आ, एक दो शायद नाल आपां नूं याद रहिंदे आ, बाकी सारे भुल जाते हैं. कोई अपनी लाइफ च बिजी है, कोई किसी लाइफ च बिजी है. But there will be very few true friends. Many other friends छड़ दो, but be careful where you spend your time. As I said, analyze yourself very, very honestly. धोखा नहीं देना अपने आप को. मैं कितना time spend करना online. So it's the right time to market. You may have a niche product. You must first study the market. Will it sell? Yeah, it could be one of the best products, best services, best things, but it may not work because that market is not ready for it, right? Or market doesn't have a capacity to pay for it. So you think of those things. That's where the user research, market research will come into play. That yes, there is a gap in the market which I need to fill. So if you can fill that gap, immediately the product will sell. So you must have the people with those skills to develop. If I say now today, if in India I have to develop an open source product like we use in all government services, we use open source tools. We are not working with Microsoft licensing tools or any Oracle or any other thing. We develop each and every service in the using open source tools. We don't want to pay anything to the private vendors. We are using public money. I want to save on that public money. Right? We are using taxpayers' money. But if I start developing this here, probably I may get some people who have that expertise, but most of the people will have more towards Microsoft, more towards Oracle. So I will fail. There are some organizations working, but not up to that level. So you will get working people, developers, testers in those areas. So think from, this is the skill available, this is the technology available in the organization, in the country, in that place, in that area, and that I can use to develop my products or services. And then it comes, there's a couple of slides more. The innovation, you need to think of innovation to give people the potential and solutions which can solve that problem. And for innovation, there is a standard which we call ISO 56000 series, which you can look up. This is all the series of standards for innovation and intellectual property right, tools and methods. So there is a kind of a standard of management and research which shows that this is how you can use it. Use it in a standard way. This is the best possible way to use, like ISO 9001. So ISO has come up with this standard for innovation also. You can study that. So they work on the same PDCA cycle, plan, do, act, check, act, as we call it. So plan, do, check and act. So that's the normal standard ISO framework. In any standard, you take from ISO 9001, 27001, 25000, any standard. I'm lead auditor for 27001 and 9001. So it's the same plan, do, check and act. You plan for the work, do that act, performance evaluate it, like I said, measure your success. And if you think this is not working or this is working, this is not working, change that and basically act and improve upon that area. Improve your product, improve your service, go on doing it. Because this, we always say, it's a continuous learning, continuous improvement. If you don't improve yourself continuously, or your product, or your service, you are obsolete. You think from the phones, सारे use करते हैं. Samsung comes up with every 6 months or 1 year new phone with new features. Maybe small things are changed. Camera has gone up. You really need it? S20, S21, S21 Ultra, S21 Ultra Plus, iPhone 13 Pro, 13 Pro Max. What's the difference from 13 to 12? Nothing. Just check the features. It's only the chipset has changed. Right? So they have to improve on the product. And they have to capture the imagination of the market that yes, oh, iPhone 13 has come. So this September, iPhone 14 will come. Samsung will come up with S22 or something else. So you have to go on improving the product to remain in the market. And then cut off the services from the previous products so that people are forced to buy. Right? So you think from that angle, Microsoft does it, Oracle does it, iPhone does it, Samsung does it. Sport after 6-7 years is withdrawn for the previous old products. So you're forced to buy new. So think from your perspective, it's a wrong business model, it's a business model which you have to work on. You have to give something for imagination for people. Oh, what can they do in the new phone? What can you do in the new service? Gene वही है ना? 100 रुपए दी भी मिल जाएगी, अरमानी दी 20,000 दी भी मिल जाएगी, गुच्ची दी भी मिल जाएगी, परफ्यूम वही है, 1000 दा भी मिलेगा, 100 दा भी मिलेगा, 5,000 दा भी, 20,000 दा भी. Same is with specs, or your goggles, or sunshades, if you are more towards America, English, sunshades. So it's, what I am trying to say is, improve upon your product. You have to continuously improve yourself. You do your continuous learning also. If I am saying that, okay, I have done my PhD, I don't have to learn, sorry. For साल बाद शायद मैंने कुछ ना पता होए. So I have to keep on learning also for myself. So I have come from दो डिस्क पैंदियां सी कंप्यूटर्स, शायद 5.4 इंच ਦੀ डिस्क किसी ने देखी ही ना होवे थाडे चो. 5.4 inch disk, magnetic disk, then 3.5 inches, then we come into the USBs and all that stuff. And on my USB ਲਈ ਫਿਰ ਤਾਂ 500 GB ਦੀ USB ਹੈ, 1 terabyte ਦੀ USB ਹੈ. So it's a complete change, right? So if you have to learn, you learn yourself. I have come from that. Now I teach AI machine learning also, blockchain, quantum computing to the new people who are coming from the colleges and schools who must have learned that, right? In theoretically, but how to do it practically, it's different. So I have to learn, keep on learning. I have my own other areas of work, like life coach, like Professor Sharma was saying. I have a life coach, mentoring people for their life achievements, like setting your life goal and achieving them. So you keep on learning yourself, keep on improving yourself. That's what I just want to say overall. And this is the economy, the last 2 slides which I will put. This is from US. That I could not get this data for India. Sorry for that. I could not find it on any of the Indian websites. So even Planning Commission doesn't have it, so could not help. This is from US, that how many innovations have happened, how much money it has brought into US. And that's why you will see all scientists and people with good background, they will just go in US because government funds it too much, even in UK also. Benefiting society. So this is another slide which you can always check on the website. Given the website name is also there. So innovation and research can help communities. And this is, if you have to establish your online innovation lab, the virtual workspace, virtually working, virtual desktops. Because for the last 2 years we have been working virtually. I was 5 months last year stuck up in India, I would say. I came for my mother's health and I was stuck up in India because of the lockdown. So I was working from here for UK government, so that's fine. So you can create online innovation lab also. It's not that you have to have a physical facility. You can have an online innovation lab also. It's up to you how you want to work, your model, you are the kind of a master for that, and think from that angle that how you can make it a success. I'm happy to take the questions now. Any questions? प्रिंसिपल साहब ने क्या सी बैठ जाओ, बैठ गए, सुन लिया 1 घंटा.
Ask anything, but you don't get this opportunity every day. Feel shy today and regret tomorrow.
Feel free. No question is a silly question. कहते हैं कि जब even if you think कोई और पूछ लेगा, नहीं, just ask that question. Even in your life, हुन नहीं पूछना, मैं नहीं कहता हुन जरूर पूछो, but in your life, be ready with the question. Even if you think it's a silly question, it may help the others also.
Sir, what is your work regarding Big Four consulting?
What's my
work regarding Big Four consulting? You have said.
Right. So my work in Big Four consulting was, I was with Accenture and 3i Infotech and another organization, Capco, which is in financial complete. So the work was basically helping again the financial sector and oil sector improve upon their services with digital transformation of their existing systems to improve upon the workforce management, new again services for their customers. If I give you just one example, we implemented a workforce management system. We got $6 million dollars for 1 year to implement the system so that we can put robotic process automation using AI and machine learning, so that we can automate some of the processes in the bank which are repetitive processes and which can be done by a robot. Robot doesn't mean it's physical robot, it's a software robot, software workflow which can do, machine can do everything for you. So we saved the bank $9.5 million in first year. So 6 million we spent, we saved them 9.5, which means 3.5 million profit in first year. And of course the workforce also was repurposed, I would say. 900 people we repurposed, retrained them for other works. Out of that 650 were given some other tasks and 250 thought we don't want to do this, we want to leave, they left the organization. That's fine. So we had to work with the trade unions across the globe. It was a global bank. So in UK also we faced a lot of resistance from trade unions, don't implement. It was a big brother approach kind of which we came up. We came up with a complete system where I can, each and every kind of a employee who was working in that area, we could monitor complete of his screen and what the person is doing. Each and every click was monitored. And if he has shown that this process is going to take 20 minutes, and if that person is taking 30 minutes, there will be a question raised why you took it. And people resisted it because it was complete intrusion into their systems. But that's the way the new technology works. And most of the banks have employed it. It's a challenging game, but we can always, it's always manageable. But there are other oil sector improvement, utility sector like electricity and others, so we work on that. Any other question? Yes, please.
जैसे हम कॉलेजेस में हैं, तो कॉलेजेस में पढ़ाई का प्रश्न होता है, बट अगर हमें फाइनेंशियल, जैसे आपको इतनी नॉलेज है फाइनेंस के बारे में, सब कुछ पता है, वैसे हमें आपको जैसे पता है फाइनेंस के बारे में इतना कुछ, तो हमें टाइम ही नहीं मिलता कि हम फाइनेंस के बारे में इतना कुछ जान सकें, तो आप कैसे मैनेज करते थे और हमें कैसे करना चाहिए उस चीज़ को मैनेज?
Very good question. Probably every student will have that question. Thank you. 24 घंटे ही अपने सारे को पहली गल अर्थ थे किसी बंदे ने 24 घंटे तो ज़्यादा एक दिन च नहीं मिलने. Now, how you manage that 24 hours is you. That's why I said, honestly, do your analysis. फोन ਤੇ ही सारा एनालिसिस हैगा ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ. तो पहला तो ऑनलाइन वाला टाइम ਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਬੜਾ ਈਜ਼ੀਲੀ ਨਿਕਲ ਜਾਏਗਾ. ਫਿਰ ਬਾਕੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਆਫਲਾਈਨ ਟਾਈਮ ਦਾ. ਮੈਂ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਘੰਟੇ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਰੂਟ ਤੇ ਮਾਰੇ, ਕਿੰਨੇ ਘੰਟੇ ਮੈਂ ਖੇਲਿਆ, ਕਿੰਨੇ ਘੰਟੇ ਮੈਂ ਆ ਕੀਤਾ, ਹੈ ਨਾ? ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੇ ਹੈ. ਸੋ 24 ਘੰਟੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੈਨੇਜ ਕਰਨੇ ਆ. I cannot manage it for you. I can help you manage. As a life coach, when I work with people over there, as a life coach, I can work with you to manage as a coach. That's why you have to, sometimes some people have to have a professional coach over there. Like, if you say, like, again I come to the same example of cricketer or any player, they will have a coach with them working. Any one who honda nahi hai. But the main thing is the coach will help them to critically evaluate, sorry, you didn't do your practice session today. It's not micromanagement. Still the player has to do it, but as a coach you will evaluate, okay, we agreed upon this, did you do this? If not, so I worked with one of my, over there, I can tell you without naming, one of my clients. He was struggling with his kind of health issues, diabetic and things like that. So we started working with him, then started creating a plan, charts. He managed, I didn't create the plan. As a coach, my task is not to create the plan for you. I will ask him to be practical and honest enough to tell me what is going to work for him. If he is saying me, okay, now from today onwards, I am going to do 5 miles walk, I am going to do yoga, I am going to do this. Okay, how much time you can spend on that? It's your time. I am not dictating you. You do 10-mile walk, you do half an hour yoga, you do this. No, I am saying what you can do. And then I will try to push him. You are saying 15. Why could not you half an hour? What are the challenges? What you face in it? Why you could not do it? So I challenge that person also to push the person's limit. But I will not set the timetable or the roadmap for that person. It's his roadmap, his goal, his outcomes. So after a week, fortnightly we had a session. So after fortnight, okay, what you have achieved. So what was your plan, what you achieved. It's not my plan. I am not saying to that person to do this. So then the person sees himself, oh, I didn't do on this day. And within 3 months, his sugar level, I don't know but over there it's 3 monthly kind of, so it came from, it was 60 on that HB1AC level, it came to 45. It was just, I didn't do anything, he did himself. It was just my guidance which was taking him over there. And it was measuring, he was measuring himself now. And he was pushing when he saw the chart, I didn't do this exercise. If he could not do in the morning, he started doing it in the evening. Oh, sorry, I didn't find the time, so it was pushing that person himself. So it is you who have to manage your time. 24 ਘੰਟੇ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਕੋਲ. ਜੇ 6 ਘੰਟੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਲਾਉਨੇ ਹੋ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਟਾਈਮ ਹੈ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਪੋਜ਼ ਕਰੋ ਗੇੜੀ ਰੂਟ ਵੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੈ, ਜਾਓ, ਕੋਈ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ. ਅੱਧਾ ਘੰਟਾ, if you want to do that also. It's you have to manage. ਪਿਕਚਰ ਦੇਖਣੀ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਅੱਜ 3 ਘੰਟੇ ਮੈਂ ਪਿਕਚਰ ਦੇਖਣੀ ਹੈ, ਕੋਈ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ, ਦੇਖੋ. But then plan out your day and activities accordingly. That no, This time I have to spend on my research, I have to learn this subject within this 3 months, 6 months period. It's you. Change yourself, world will change. Don't try to change the world without changing yourself. So it's you, any student, सारे अब थोड़ा टाइम थोड़ा है, तुसी ही मैनेज करना है. Any other question? Yeah. Thank you. Cryptocurrency, very hot topic these days. Again, Bitcoin was the first leader. They made a lot of money. But फिर उठे ही आवांगा, unless I can encash it. Is it there? ठीक है, Bitcoin, it went into $20,000 at one point of time, one Bitcoin. But unless in cash it, does it have a real value? So it's good to have that, trade it. So trading the equi rule, enter into the market when it is low and get out of the market when it is high. And if you can learn that technique, then if you have that hunch, that foresight, if you can analyze the market in a way, yes, this market is going to get down after this, I should take my money out and put into something else. You need to learn that. If you have not learned it, if you are entering the market at the wrong time, and when the market is at peak, then it has to come down. Of course, it is going to be up always. The trend is always going up, but around that it will be this, right? But then you may have to wait a longer time. So if you have to take that risk, take that, calculate it, that these are the funds which I can sustain for a longer time. But जी मैं कहूँगा कि आज मेरे को 10 लाख रुपया मेरी जमा पूंजी है, तो 10 लाख का 10 लाख ही मैं शेयर मार्केट चकता. What are the other funds which you have? What are the spare funds you can think of? मैं 5 साल नहीं देखना या 4 साल नहीं देखना. That's the way you put your strategy into work. How you make your money work for you, it's up to you. People make within the currency also, every day currency changes. I can trade in the currency, but you have to be very quick when to get in, when to get out. Even 1 rupee will make a difference. In the pound, like pound is around 100 rupees. So it can fluctuate from 95 to 105. You need to know where to get pounds and where to get the rupees. So if you learn that, ये नहीं है कि मैं दूसरों को देख के करा, मैं खुद एनालाइज करना पड़ेगा. या मैं एक्सपर्ट हायर करा, like Goldman Sachs or which are bigger investment bankers who can make your money work for you.
Last question now. Anyone?
कोई नहीं बोलते थे.
So it's kind of unrelated, but what do you think will be the impact of the new sanctions imposed on the Russian economy?
Okay. The sanctions upon Russian economy.
On the Russian economy, yes.
Okay.
Including the EU ones, the removal from SWIFT and...
So the challenge is always when you have a big player like Russia and you are trying to, it's a biggest political scenario. NATO is trying to control Russia by going into Ukraine, and they are trying to show them, yes, we are the strength here, you don't come over here. Of course, it may impact them, but again the bigger picture will come. Russia has other resources which the others don't have. So if they stop those supplies, Europe will crumble. It's a bigger game. But yes, definitely if it impacts, it goes into a longer war, then economies are going to be pushed to the limit. Every economy is going to be pushed. It's not just Russia will have the effect. Europe, US, Middle East, every other country will see those. It will be a domino effect. Definitely. But let's hope with Belarus coming into play, the negotiations work. Okay, thank you very much for listening.
Before Professor Panna could cover, regarding cryptocurrency, we will be having session very soon now. The person who is involved at RBI level from Delhi, she is coming, and we will be telling you whether it will be offline or online and how to organize. And it is very satisfying experience when I look at the level of the students and the question they are asking. When we used to be of your age, we are not aware of what is happening globally and how the things are having the impact and how the such things are working. So when the students ask the things, naturally we feel happy that they are knowing about international relations, intellectual policies, economic innovations and everything. And that motivates us to organize more and more events. Now the time is gone when completing syllabi was sufficient. The time has come to become smart, and that requires that you should have the updation of the latest facility. But to organize the same, naturally you require the feedback and you require the response from students. And hopefully the way this question are asked, it is evident that you have learned a lot. That's why curiosity is generated and you are asking. And be in touch. And whenever you get a expertise available from outside the college, it's a time that you should come and learn a lot. And regarding the question regarding the finance availability and everything, recently within the 6 months we have signed the 2 MOUs. One was with the NSE, National Stock Exchange, which has started up their simulation exercise now. One course is already going on, second batch is already on. Another, we have started up with the MOU with IBM, and IBM is going to offer the artificial intelligence, blockchain, society and other courses, which are naturally more than what we are required to done in a curriculum. But the time is such that if you don't update yourself to later